Alright, good morning. Today we're looking at a cargo hauler that I've been messing around with. This is kind of me role-playing in the game. I wanted to do a Class A ship instead of some of the giant Class C cargo ships that you usually see. I did something a little weird with this one. So the ship itself is kind of interesting, and then it has this giant cargo pod in the center that, in my mind, is like detachable. So we'll see what I'm talking about here in a second.
We're asking everyone to. Okay, no problem.
Alright, so the ship itself is just the front and the back connected by the spine along the top. Oops. So this cargo pod here, in my mind, is like a rapid uh, something that you can land and detach easily, or in space you can detach it. But this is the ship itself, and it can fly without this cargo pod here. So you enter up here, you come up into the hab section along the spine of the ship. But then the cargo pod would like just slot into the center here, so they could just like forklift this thing in, and it would just attach just like that. I've also noticed since I started playing this expansion, these cargo pods, these Stormax, have a much higher cargo per mass ratio than any other cargo pods in the game that I've been able to find. I mean, it's a lot higher. So normally I would only be able to get this ship up to about 4,000 at the very high end for a Class A ship and still maintain this 100 mobility. But with these, you can see I'm just short of 5,000. There were some ways that I could get this up to 5,000, but it kind of destroyed this idea of having this central removable cargo pod that we can just snap in. But the ship itself, like I said, it's just this weird looking thing. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of unique. So there is a little bit of extra cargo in the back here. But yeah, you don't really see a lot of Class A dedicated cargo ships. Usually people have the giant, fully maxed out Class C ships that you see all the time. Now, you can see right here, I was just doing some thought experiments. The highest I've ever gotten a ship in the old days and still maintain 100 mobility was just a little over 9,000 cargo. You can see here that, and I still have more room to play with. Like I was just messing around. Like if I just made the ship nothing but these little store max cargo pods, so that would be as high as I can go. If it's 4275 with these engines, it's going to be the max. That's 12,000 cargo. I still got to add the weapons, so maybe just a little bit less. But I mean, damn, these things are a lot more efficient than the regular cargo pods. So we went from 9,000 to 12,000 and still keep that 100 mobility. So I'm going to play around with this later and make an actual proper cargo ship. And we'll go from there. But like I said, this is the first time I think I've ever used these 220 CV landing gears. And I went through a lot of different configurations trying to figure out what worked. I like these when you're in flight actually, because they actually rotate from perpendicular back to the parallel along the line of the ship. So it actually gives the ship a very sleek profile when it's in space. And then I'm using two of these fuel tanks. I would have preferred to have a little bit more fuel, but like I said, I'm right at the mass. Actually, I have one mass left to play with. But in order to do it like this, now I was able to get more fuel and get the cargo up a little over 5,000, and I was able to add 2 extra halves by removing all these bracers and just sticking 2 halves down here. You can do all that, but like I said, the idea of having this cargo pod detachable, from like a lore perspective is what I was going for. So you got the giant Cabot C4 bridge at the top, and Let me just take this pod off first. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that it took me that long to figure out that these cargo pods were such a different. Because the bigger ones, like, this is what I don't understand. It makes me wonder if this is a mistake too, because if you go to the large ones that take up basically, it's two of these together. This is 455 cargo for 70 mass. Okay. This is 485 cargo for 102 mass. That's a huge difference in mass for almost no increase in cargo. So I don't know what the X factor is with these little ones, but it is what it is, and that's what we're using. So this is obviously a unmodded, unglitched build. Alright, so we'll move the cargo pod over here. The engines in the back is just this, or the drive section back here, are these 6 SA 4330 engines from Slate Aerospace. These are 2-power engines, so you, like I said, you have 6 of them, and you get these from Neon. Excuse me. So as, in the back, these 4 gears weren't enough. They only have 1 thrust each, so I had to supplement it with a single Nova Galactic 20 landing gear in the back, and it just holds this drive section together back here. At the top, we are using a Tokamak X300 reactor, and I've picked this slowly on appearance because it looks like a structural piece, and you can paint it so it looks like the rest of the ship, so that's nice. For the fuel inside, we're going to just attach these 2 Titan 450 HE3 tanks. They face either left or right, and you're going to have them facing outwards so they can connect to the engines on the outer section. And then a single 100 cm ballast cargo hold will attach to the Tokamak X300 reactor. So this is right here is the what I call the ship proper. It's really not much, and like I said, it took me a lot of experimentation to get this to work. It's these 4 Nova cowlings, 2 L's, and I just have them basically turned inside out. Normally you would see it like people would have it like this, you know, facing forward, but I have them reversed. And let me put these guns back on before I forget where I put them all. It gives it this, I don't know, unique appearance in the center where it's all just sweeping inward towards the that cargo pod that goes in the middle. So, and then 2 habs is all there is in the ship. You can go up to 4. Actually, I think you can go up to 5 if you forget about this whole concept with the center pod and just remove all these Nova bracers and put 2 habs in there, and then get rid of these 1x1 habs. There was a way to get 5 habs in there, and the cargo up to just, it was a little over 5,000. So it could be done, but like I said, I'm not going for functionality here. I'm going for like art at this point. I had a little bit of extra room, so I put in, or tonnage to play with, so I put in this 20T cargo hauler at the bottom. And how did we do this? I guess we'll start from, let me move these out. Okay, basically the ship is just begins with these 4 20 CV landing gears, and they're going to be connected by a, and the ones in the rear anyways, are going to be connected by an R4000 alpha grav drive. And by the way, while I'm on this grav drive, you can see my jump range is only 26. This is a problem, I think I mentioned this in my other video, where this only affects Class A ships. With Class B and Class C ships, if your mobility is 100, there's no amount of cargo you can put on the ship that you won't have a grav drive that can push you up to 30 light year jump range. So you'll always have a grav drive available that can push you up to 30 light years as long as your mobility stays at 100. That's not the case with Class A. For some reason, the top, this is the R4000. It has 27 grav jump thrust. That's the most powerful grav drive for Class A ships, and it's not enough to get you to. I consider 28 to be the minimum. So 26 is just as high as it'll go. Like there's just no, unless you turn it into a Class B ship. So there's no way around it. That's just the way it is. I think there's an item now they say you can get that reduces the mass of your ship. So I don't know what the percentage was, like 15 or 20% or something. So I don't have that. I'm gonna go play the game eventually. I've been working mostly, and I haven't had that much time outside of the shipbuilder. But anyways, that's a limitation that there's no way around it. You just have to start deleting cargo pods if you needed to jump over 26 light years for whatever reason, or go with a different ship. So these two 220 CV landing gears are connected by the R4000 grav drive. The forward ones are connected by a Stroud companionway, one by one. And then we're going to use a 120 LD landing bay from Deimos. So this is one of those ones, anytime you see a landing bay that's two sections, 2 squares long, it's going to have a ladder that goes up from this rear section here. If it's just one, the landing bay is just one section, I don't think there's any. No. Like the one from Neon, the ship bed, it's just a single square. That'll have a access from the back, if that makes any sense. So 2 always go up, 1 always goes out the back for access into the ship. But for this ship, because of the way I have the cargo pods, I wanted it to be the ship to be flyable without the cargo attached. I needed to go straight up, so I used this 120 landing bay from Deimos. It snaps in just like that. And then along the top, we're just using 2 Stroud control stations, 2 by 1. One will go like that, and one will go like that. And then we can just snap the 2 pieces together. And that's basically the ship. Very simple design. The frog head here, the Cavett C4 bridge, will go on just like that. And then the drive section will just snap onto the back. Did I talk about the drive section? Yeah, it's 6 of these SA 4330 engines, the Tokamak X300 reactor, the 2 fuel tanks, and the NG20 landing gear at the bottom. And this landing gear can be in different configurations, and you need it to be in because it won't connect. See, in any of these other 2 configurations, it's got to go to the sides just like that. And then kind of for appearance and have somewhere to mount the weapons, we're using 4 of these Nova Cowlings. And like I said, I've got them turned inside out, so they go like this. And they form like a tapered inward to the center of the ship. And that's it. That's the ship. Because the landing bay comes in here and it goes straight up, we want the docker to connect right there. So it's just a single ladder going all the way down. And then I had a little space down in here on the bottom, this little cavity right here under the grav drive. And I had some tonnage to play with, so I put in this 20T cargo hauler right there. At the top of the ship, well, let's not do that yet. So for this cargo pod, actually we will do this other stuff first. For the shield, we're using a Marduk 1040 shield generator. I'll go right there. For the weapons, we're using 3 PBO 50 auto proton beams. These are 4 power each, so you can have 3 on each side. 1, 2, 3. On the other side, we're using 4 PBO 40 auto electron beams. These are also 4 power, which means you can have 3 in each group, so it's 1, 2, 3. And then I have 4 of these CE-19 missile launchers. So I mounted the 2 on the corners here, and there was no more regular attach points for weapons, so I had to use 2 of these equipment plates from Tile. You can pick these up at Neon. So you just stick them on your ship, like that, and then you can attach a weapon to a place that normally wouldn't let you put a weapon. And that's the ship. So I come in, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of these Nova bracers. I needed something that could attach from both sides and to each other, and also connect to the top of the ship. And really, this was the only thing I could find. You could use like well, the Stroud bracers didn't work. You could use it like an actual structural piece, like oops, I missed it. What do they call them right here? I was going to use these Deimos hulls, and to give it just a more solid appearance. But these things have 5 mass each, whereas these bracers are only 3 mass each. So it's not a lot, but when you're bumping into the mass limit, you know, 2, 4, 6, 8, that's 8 mass that you're saving right there. So like I said, every little bit, you know, when you save up, adds up in the end. But so the idea is like the ship will come in, land, and it'll just, this thing will be easily like released from the ship, and they can roll it off and drive it away, and then they can just bring in another one and just snap it right on for quick access, and then the ship can, you know, refuel, do whatever, take off. So it's just for rapid loading and unloading. Now, obviously that has absolutely no place in the game, like in the real game. You know, like it doesn't work like that. But like I said, I'm just doing this from like a lore perspective in the universe game. But anyways, I haven't named it yet. That was my old name. I guess I gotta call it something. Generic cargo hauler. Probably can't go with that. Hauler. I'll come up with a name later. Or here. Place name here. Oh, I can't do that. So I'm happy with how this came out. You know, as far as cargo haulers, I wanted it to be, I wanted you to look at it and know that it's a cargo hauler, but not look like something with these, I don't know, man. I thought about playing around with these Storm Axes, but I just don't like the way they look. You can't paint them. It just drives me nuts. And you could do something like this, stick them on the sides, and that works. They don't have the same cargo capacity as these things, but I don't know. I mean, it does work. But like I said, these Storm Axes, for some reason, it's the 70s, not the big ones, but the little single module ones, are just have a crazy high cargo to mass ratio. So, all right. If you go into the ship, and there's not much to it. Like I said, I actually sacrificed some hab space just for the aesthetics of the ship. And going directly in, you know, you can go into the cockpit either from deck 1, because this is that cabin. They have access from both sides, which is kind of nice. And you have 2 of these 2x1 habs at the top, which I'm using for crew members, even though I don't fly with crew members. And that's the docker going out to the top. Alright, we're in space. Oops. And let me get pointed into the sun so we can take some glamour shots here. you look at the ship now with my perks for cargo, that's 7,764. Or not, for my, I have the skills that increases my cargo. I don't have Sam Co on board, so with Sam on board, this would be probably like somewhere between 8 and 9,000. Uh, Shields are the really big weakness for Class A ships. Uh, there is a shield generator that's slightly more powerful than the one I have, but not much. But it's one of those that sticks out the side, and I don't have anywhere to put it, so we had to use the little Marduk 1040. But 1300 shield generator is kind of low for shields, but that's, like I said, that's just about as best you can get for Class A ships. And of course, we're all using particle weapons, and I put some missiles on here because I like the way these missiles racks are flat. They don't poke up really high like most missile racks, and these actually are pretty powerful for Class A missiles. But oops, we'll go into the photo mode. You can see the landing gears rotate in line with the ship now that we're in space. So that was kind of nice looking. Oh, if you ever notice, see the green on this side? This is like a real aircraft. If you ever look, and they're flying, and they have red on this side. So green, from the pilot's perspective, is going to be the right of the ship, and red will always be the left. And I used to fly helicopters in real life, so it's the same thing. It's kind of cool. But yeah, this is the ship. It's pretty clean looking, I think. And I don't know how practical, like in game it would be, but from like a real world, like just because you want a cargo ship to be able to get in, drop its cargo fast, reload fast, and get out again, I think this would be something that would work pretty good. But anyways, I don't think there's any need to take it into combat because I've done that in like 77 other videos I've done. But I hope you guys enjoy, and I guess I'll chat with you all later. Thanks.